I know you've all been gleefully waiting to hear me say this, so enjoy it. Guys, I was wrong. Yes, I'm here to finally admit it. Nvidia is releasing the 4080 12GB as a 4070 Ti. I am shamed. Oh, some of you are expecting more? Well, that's all you're getting, because I think what I've said here stands up pretty well. I can see that you're skeptical, so let's start with the controversy that started this whole channel, the 4080 12GB. Back in September, after this thing was announced, my feed was deluged by people saying,
4080 12 gig.
But the RTX 4080 12 gig, in my opinion, isn't really an RTX 4080, or shouldn't be called that. If you look at the stats, it looks much more like an RTX 4070.
Here's where they've made two big mistakes, and I wish they would just correct these instead of trying to mislead the public, and that is the 4080 12GB. It's a 4070, and we all know that.
My disagreement is why any of you are here, and I stand by it. I still think that to say it was really a 4070 is dumb. Yes, is present tense, even with the 4070 Ti coming out, because there is no standards board that determines what is a 70 or 80 class card. These companies get to name their products whatever they want. Same goes for AMD. If the community cared about consistency at all and wasn't tilted toward Team Red for the last several months, then the 7900 XT would have caught the same flack for being really a 7800 XT, since it was designed to compete with the 4080 12GB. Now that it's competing with the 4070 Ti, it's even worse. People have also given me a lot of grief for commentary on pricing. That the 4080 12 gig was a joke at $900 and the 16 gig was overpriced at $1,200. But I'm coming out ahead there too. Look at this. As of January 1, 2023, RTX 3090s are still selling used on eBay for over $800. With the 7900 XT on the market, in stock, and selling below MSRP, this shouldn't be possible. But it's happening. The only explanation is that the 3090 is as good as a 7900 XT. Better, really, since the XT's only been out a few weeks and would be hardly used. So if people are willing to pay $850 for a used 3090, they would obviously pay $900 for something with 3090 Ti performance, new features, and a warranty. And they will. One of the interesting wrinkles in the 4080 12 gig / 4070 Ti story is that there is to be no Founders Edition, which means that the vast majority of cards will be overclocked models, which means higher prices. So expect to find most of these GPUs listed at or above $899. I swear I've heard that number before. Moving up a tier, I never thought that the 7900 XTX would truly compete with the 4080, but if it did, that prices would normalize, probably raising prices more for the XTX than lowering them for the 4080. I figured around $1150. Well, on performance, I was pleasantly surprised to be wrong when it comes to rasterization. The XTX is pretty impressive, especially if you're primarily playing Call of Duty. As a result, the resale price for the XTX is now above the MSRP for the 4080. That was surprising, but reinforces that the $1,200 price for the 4080 is not exciting, but it is fair. Otherwise, the price for the 4080 would be falling. XTX reference cards are selling for $1,200 to $1,275, which is just below what you'd pay for an MSRP RTX 4080 once you add the average US sales tax. Look, I would be super happy, like all of you, to see AMD get it together sometime soon and deliver real competition to Nvidia. But the problem is the same that it's been for the last 7 or 8 years. They cut corners to lower prices, and it shows up in quality of life issues. For example, all efficiency gains seem to be lost when you try to overclock.
The moment you go in there, if you do a custom overclock, if you do the auto overclock, it doesn't matter. The moment you adjust the settings to try to get even a little bit more performance, the power draw goes right above the total rated board power of 355 watts.
Check out Eric on Deck's recent video for more about that. Also, the drivers are a mess. AMD Fine Wine is really just terrible driver efficiency at launch that gets improved over time. They're a generation behind and not catching up on ray tracing, and every bit of accessory tech they deliver, from TressFX and FreeSync to FSR, is a response to Nvidia innovation. And honestly, no one expects that to change anytime soon. That's because the reality is this: they are a value producer. They are not here to break performance barriers or launch new gaming experiences. They're here to sell you a good enough GPU at lower prices than their competition. Their business model demands that they always be a generation behind and a tier below and hope to compete on price. And that means people will continue to pay more for Nvidia. This isn't bad though. If you're not looking for top tier and don't really care about the latest features, then AMD will be good for you. At value price points, which are sadly now anything below $800, they provide real competition for Nvidia, and they can nip at their heels at the top end, forcing them to keep innovating to hold on to their position. And they don't have to develop features until Nvidia takes all the risk to find out if the market really wants them. Think about the initial response to the RTX that led to the GTX 1600 series. This is a functioning model, and Intel's entry only adds value for everyone. There's not really anything more to say about the price and positioning of these cards. We know how the 4070 Ti will perform, we know how it will affect prices, it will rise above the XTX and will drive down Ampere pricing, and we can be reasonably certain that the 7900 XT will see a near immediate price cut to the neighborhood of $750. After that, it's just about filling in the mid-range as the higher-end last-gen stock sells through at their reduced prices. That means I'm free. I am so tired of talking about graphics cards. Actually, that's not even it. I'm tired of talking about two graphics cards. Now I can get on to some of the other things that have come up but been overshadowed by Nvidia's colossal marketing failures. Unless they've completely blown it at CES, but hopefully they learned their lesson. No, that doesn't sound like them. Well, I'll be optimistically working on some other content about gaming and tech in the meantime. Let me know what you think about my work so far in the comments, and thanks for watching.